Good morning everybody from my hotel room opposite London Heathrow's Terminal 4, where a little bit later on I am going to be taking my first ever flights with Etihad, and I am doing it in one of their iconic A380s all the way down to Abu Dhabi in business class. Now this is not something that I do every day of the week. Firstly, I can't afford it, and secondly, I just don't have the time. But you may be surprised at what I paid for this flight. I will reveal all a little bit later on in the video, but what I want to do is show you the full experience. So we're going to head over, we're going to check in properly, and we're going to go over to the lounge, and I will show you all of that. And before you know it, of course, it'll be time to get on board. So why don't you come with me, and I'll see you in a bit. A6APH and A380-800 was going to be my aircraft today. I knew that because I'd had a quick look on Flight Radar 24 before I left the hotel, and it was already heading up to London as I made my way over to the check-in desks. And as you can see here, you have economy on your left, and then business, and then first. And I could have done all this online, but yeah, like I said, these business class flights are pretty rare occasions for me. I do like to have a printed boarding pass as a bit of a memento. Well, all checked in, that was nice and easy, no queue, took all of 5 minutes. The guy actually on check-in for Etihad was really good. He explained to me, he checked me all the way through to Delhi, which is my kind of final destination with Etihad. Yeah, he checked me all the way through there, and he explained about, just wanted to see the visa I've got for India, and explained all about the layover time that I've got in Abu Dhabi, and showed me where to go for the lounge, and how to use the fast track security, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to head through there now, and then yeah, we'll check out the lounge. Hello. Thank you very much.
Have a look at all in the clear bag.
Yes. So through the fast track security, very quick and easy. A quite light touch, I thought. The Etihad First and Business Lounge in Terminal 4 is opposite Gate 10, down one floor in the lift.
Doors open. Doors open. December 23rd.
On arrival, there was some dude trying to get in, though I was more interested in the model aircraft, to be honest. I'd love one of these in the Let's Make a Trip offices. Just next to the pot plants would be nice. Anyway, I was greeted in no time and told all about the lounge. I had a quick wander around before finding a seat. It was sparsely populated at this point, but yeah, it was a good 2.5 hours before we were due to board. I do like to maximise my time in these places when I get the chance. I was immediately greeted by a member of staff and asked if I would like a drink. Just sticking to the Coke at the moment, I settled in. Overall, a very good impression of everything Etihad so far. I went through to the dining area where the staff were very attentive. I was immediately offered a glass of champagne, but declined it for now, as I thought it was too early. And I thought I'd save it for the flight. There was an a la carte menu plus buffet style food options. I went for the shepherd's pie or cottage pie, you tell me, to start with a nice glass of Sauvignon Blanc. And I don't know why I thought it was too early to have champagne if I was drinking wine at this point. Anyway, a banana toffee cake came after that with a coffee. And the staff in the lounge actually were really attentive, especially the receptionist. And do you know what? Near the end of this video, I'm going to give you what may be a controversial opinion about Etihad staff overall. Now, don't worry, it is positive, but I'd be really interested to know what you think. Okay, so as you can see here, we were called to board from Gate 5, which was a short walk away from the lounge. Now, interestingly, when I was coming back, we boarded direct from the lounge in Abu Dhabi. Now, I've never done that before, but it was a real positive, so easy. And of course, you don't have to mingle with the riffraff, do you? Let me tell you now, that lounge over there is absolutely massive, but I thought the food options were really poor, and to be honest, apart from the direct boarding, I much preferred the lounge here at Heathrow. Well then guys, my first time on the Etihad A380 in business class. Really looking forward to this. Let's go. Yeah, down the jet bridge via gate 5B, you may have noticed, because the A380 of course requires 2 jet bridges, one for the upstairs and one for the downstairs. good.
sir. You go together and then to the lady to the left.
Hello.
Hello, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please straight down.
Thank you very much. And upstairs is taken up mainly by the business cabin, but if I'd have turned left here, I would have been in first. And beyond that even is the legendary residence suite. And maybe one day if you guys can watch enough of my videos, I'll be able to afford a quick trip in that. Actually, probably not. And the downstairs, of course, is taken up by economy class. After a friendly enough greeting from the crew, I eventually made my way to my seat. And note the lounge bar area here to my left, by the way. A nice space to relax in, and yeah, I'll be sampling that a little bit later on in the flight. The seat itself was nicely presented here with the cushion and bedding pack provided. There are plenty of storage bins by the window for that sort of stuff pre-takeoff. And talking about windows, I was pretty much over the wing here, probably about halfway down the aircraft in this massive business cabin. Enjoying the views of one of Qatar's A380s, I had my first glass of champagne, which was really nice actually, well worth the wait. And we pushed back around 20 minutes late in the end, but yeah, I wasn't at all bothered about that. The flight time would be around 6 hours 20 minutes according to the flight deck. Drink orders post takeoff were taken, and I settled back into my seat. Now I noticed at this point that my shoes matched the interior of the cabin. Now one thing with the upper deck on the A380 is that the windows are curved and yeah, they feel quite far away from the cabin itself, and not easy windows to film out of, to be honest, which is the main drawback for me. Etihad have fitted their A380s with cameras, so I was able to get the tail cam going as we taxied out onto runway 09R this afternoon. I'll do my best with the camera, enjoy the takeoff, and I'll see you again as we climb out of London, heading east-south-east towards English Channel and beyond. So let's have a look at some of the business class features here in the Etihad A380. Now the table just pulls out like so, nice and solid. Now there are various controls for the seat illuminated here, though yeah, I must admit it took me until at least the second flight over to Delhi to figure out what everything did. I mean, this bit is self-explanatory, isn't it? But yeah, what about all this stuff? I just wasn't sure about it. And the window blind controls, well, yeah, this was pretty cool, wasn't it? Being able to shut them remotely, although there were separate buttons on the windows themselves. And I kept the window blind nearest the TV screen shut so that I could watch live football, which was also a very cool feature. And watching a Premier League match at 39,000 feet, who'd have thought it? I'd been given hot nuts after takeoff, believe it or not, along with a glass of South African GFV Gab Family Vineyards Chardonnay. I spent a little bit of time playing around with the in-flight entertainment, and as well as the onboard cameras here, you've got what is probably my favourite feature of any IFE, the map and flight details. Now unfortunately though, Etihad's flight path feature was unavailable, and this continued to be the case for the whole flight. I was a little bit disappointed by that, to be honest, but there are plenty of other options like live news and sport that you've already seen, films, and this button here, the food and beverage one, where you can order anything you like and directly to your seat. And note my favourite word in the dictionary here, complimentary. You can choose when you want to dine, work or rest with Etihad. Just let the crew know what you want to do, along with your preferred dining time. I ordered the salmon starter from the menu, which was nicely presented with asparagus, avocado, radish and truffle celery remoulade. The Arabic meze was an option here, but I'm not a big fan of that, to be honest. What about you? After that, I'd gone for the braised beef brisket main course with charred radicchio, asparagus again, and tomato truffle and cheddar polenta, which was really nice, and I polished that off no problem at all. And for dessert, I just went for the simple Haagen-Dazs vanilla ice cream, which I naively thought would just come out in a branded tub, you know, like normal Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Well, maybe that would have happened with BA, but no, this was very nicely presented in its own bowl with a little piece of chocolate on the top. Lovely. Now, I really enjoyed the food. We were due to arrive into Abu Dhabi at 1:45 in the morning, and after dinner service had finished, the cabin quickly went into dark mode. So I went and checked out the bar area, which was a nice cosy space, very quiet at the time of my visit, and quite dark too. I prefer the bar on Qatar's A380, to be honest, which is larger and slightly more inviting in my opinion. But the staff were quite attentive, and I was quickly asked if I would like a drink, and I chose just a double espresso to keep me going, and that came with a couple of chocolates. Now the toilet was nicely fitted out with plenty of amenities available, but yeah, again it was quite dark in there, but yeah, kept very clean, everything worked as you would expect, absolutely no issues at all. Well, I did eventually return to my seat and put it into bed mode, but it was just way too dark to see anything, which is great if you want to get some sleep, but absolutely hopeless for filming purposes. I found it quite comfortable, although it didn't feel overly private. Frequent business class flyers, I'm sure, can give their opinion on this particular seat, but I think unless you've got a sliding door these days, it's always going to be a bit like that, isn't it? Yeah, first world problems, eh? I just lay on my side facing the windows. We weren't far from Abu Dhabi now, so yeah, a couple of things to mention. Wi-Fi, also known as Etihad's Wi-Fly, was available. And if you've signed up to their website as an Etihad guest member, you can enjoy complimentary chat, which worked absolutely fine for me. Alternatively, you have the surf option, which for $9.99, and I thought it was pretty decent for the duration of the flight. Etihad do provide an amenity kit, which was way too dark again to show you on board here, but via the magic of video editing, I can quickly insert a clip here of the bag and its contents proudly on display at my hotel room post-flight. Now, price I paid for this experience, well, I'm looking at it from a wider perspective here. Let me explain. I booked a business class return with Etihad from London Heathrow to New Delhi, India. I didn't think I'd be back there so soon after my last visit, to be honest, but yeah, my visa was still valid, and although I wasn't really stopping in New Delhi for very long this time, flights to the subcontinent were by far the cheapest option at the time of booking. So for 4 sectors, all in business class, don't forget, and all with Etihad, I paid £1,522.29, which I don't think is a bad price overall on one of the best airlines out there, don't forget. Although I didn't film the other 3 sectors, I can tell you the experience was pretty similar throughout. Though, yeah, our aircraft on the outbound second leg to Delhi did go tech, and we had to return to stand. And also the business class seat on the return leg from Delhi on the 777 was very old and outdated, which is something to watch out for. But yeah, overall, a really good experience, although not as great as my experience with Qatar, that is my honest opinion. After landing in Abu Dhabi, taxi to the gate took about 15 minutes. The disembarkation was a quick and efficient process, but though I thanked the crew, as I always do, I received a fairly muted farewell, to put it diplomatically. Thank you very much. And this brings me back to my earlier statement about Etihad staff. Yeah, I found the crew on board to be efficient, and don't get me wrong, service was fine. but they weren't overly friendly. Whereas the ground staff, and in particular the staff in the lounges both at Heathrow and here at Zayed International Airport, are absolutely fantastic. So my opinion of Etihad staff was, overall a positive one, but the ground staff are much more friendly than the flight attendants. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Right guys, Abu Dhabi. I'm just heading towards arrivals now. Well, just following everybody else really. It's the first time I've been here. So we'll see what happens next. I've got to find my way to the Premier Inn, which is where I am staying for the next few hours anyway. So, let's see how we go. I've got to say, the new terminal here at Abu Dhabi, Terminal A, is really impressive. And it's only been open since October 23. And it's beautiful, and unlike when I went to Doha, I found it fairly easy to navigate and no problem at all getting through security over to landside. Right through security. That wasn't bad actually. I reckon it's taken about 17 minutes so far since disembarkation. So just heading through the exit, and now I'm hoping I can find a shuttle bus which is going to take me to my hotel. Fingers crossed, eh? Let's see how we get on. Right then guys, we've found the Premier Inn shuttle bus. Nice, isn't it? Departed from here at 1:25, so I've just about made it, and hopefully, it looks quite busy on suitcase-wise on the back. Hopefully we can get on, and it won't take too long before we can get there and check in. It's 1:25 in the morning. Let's see how we go. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest, but I made it, and it was taking me to my hotel, and that's all that mattered, wasn't it? And after checking in, I went up to my room where I just took a minute or two to summarise the journey. Right then guys, at my hotel room in Abu Dhabi, and it looks very familiar, doesn't it? That's because it is the Premier Inn in Abu Dhabi, not far from the airport. And I set myself a target: if I could get here by 2 o'clock in the morning, then that will give me a reasonable night's sleep, because as you saw when I explained the price, I'm actually heading over to Delhi tomorrow. And so the price is a return in business class all the way to Delhi and then back through Abu Dhabi again. Let me know what you thought. For me, I'm hardly qualified to talk about these kind of things, am I? But I have been on Qatar in business class, and I think they're slightly better. I think they're slightly more upmarket, if you kind of get what I mean. But Etihad, I thought they were pretty good overall, weren't they? The aircraft was great. Don't know what happened with the flight map. That was a bit of a shame, wasn't it? But overall, a pretty good flight. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to try and get some shut-eye now. Hope you can join me on another adventure soon. And as always, guys, cheers for now.